Love it. Where to begin?
Should we do the intro? Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Booked and Busy podcast.
Yes.
We are here.
Mm-hmm.
We made it.
It took us how many months to get this going?
A few months. It might have just taken us an hour to set this up.
Because should we give them the background of how we practiced
Mhm.
last week?
Yep.
Everything was fine.
Yep.
We go to start recording today. Naturally, we run into so many issues
So many
because
problems.
so many problems.
But we're here.
Okay. We're
And
here.
we did it. And we know that everyone's been waiting a long time for this. It's been much anticipated.
And I think a lot of what the fans wanted is the fans, they wanted to see us interact because how much of how we communicate is through body language. It's not just through our voices. It's how we look at each other, the emphasis that we put in our facial expressions, our hand movements.
Right.
It's everything.
It is. It is. So originally it was going to be audio, and now you get to see our faces as well, which, again, just better.
It's a gift.
It is.
And it's a gift. You're welcome, bitches. So maybe we should start by telling you guys a little bit about ourselves and the history of our friendship, how we met, why we're starting this, why we love books and all this shit, and all right, guys, had to make some minor changes. I was sounding deaf. I could not hear myself talk. It was freaking me the fuck out. So here we are.
This is live.
Yeah.
Things are gonna happen.
This is live. I'm not perfect. I mean, I kind of am, but sometimes I'm not. So sorry. Anyway, we left off about wanting to give you guys some background into how we met, how our friendship started, how our love for books started, how our love for just chatting and bantering started.
How we got here.
How we got here
to this place.
Let's start talking a little bit about how we know each other, Soph.
All right, gal. Well, I can at least share my perspective, and then maybe you can share your perspective. So it all started back in, what would it have been, 2015 probably? At this point?
Well, no, because I met you. Oh, yeah, that was sophomore year.
Or 2016?
No, I think, because it's 2015. Because I met you my sophomore year in college.
Yeah. So I had a friend in college that was like, oh, party this weekend, whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm down. Show up at the party. It's none other than Val Tuzzulo's house. And she lived with our pal Dilly.
Shout out Dylan Pal.
I don't know who the fuck else you were living with at the time, and she threw all the parties. Val's house was the party house in college, at least for our group of friends. And I showed up and met her, this little ball of fire, and drunk off her ass, and just welcomed us with open arms. And then I don't think there was a weekend that I didn't go back there after that, really. And then the rest is history. I think with every party, we just got closer and closer. And that's at least first meeting. But yeah, college house parties. And then I don't think it really kicked off to close to how it is today until our spring break Canada trip. Which
is we'll circle back to that.
Could be a whole episode. That could be a whole episode.
I don't think we ever. I remember always you coming to the parties, but we never fully spent one-on-one time.
Right? No one-on-one time really yet. Until that, I would say until junior year.
Yeah,
because we're one-on-one time, because that was when we went to Canada. It was junior year spring break. How's my?
I forgot about that.
If you guys hear that, that's what it is, viewers. But
That's character.
yeah, I would say Canada trip junior year was where it all really really started.
I think, well, so our parties were so much fun. We had like little background. We had like a group of girlfriends, I'd say, that we always would kind of just mingle with each other. And then we kind of had the bright idea to go on spring break to Montreal in the middle of fucking winter. I mean, great idea on our behalf, like great idea.
Never again.
And I think that's really where you and I got so close.
Yeah.
Was like that trip because we spent like the full weekend together. We got
Right.
to know each other
Because
a lot more.
originally it was supposed to be 6 of us, and then the other half ended up not coming on the way there. So if you guys are listening, you know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are, bitches. You know who you are.
And they literally couldn't come. So then we're like, okay, well, the hotel was under
one of their names.
So we're freaking out. We're all crying at the
Poor Dylan.
But it ended up being such a fun trip. Yeah, there's lots of stories from there that we don't really need to get into, but
No,
yeah,
by
that
any means,
was
no.
really where I think we realized, like, okay, we're pretty much the same person in many a different way. So yeah, and then it hasn't stopped since then.
I know. I think like what was the telltale sign for me of why we were going to be so close is because, to your point, we are the same person, but I feel like we also balance each other out because of our differences too. Like we're the same in terms of, I think we're hilarious. I think we're fucking sarcastic bitches. I think that we are so introspective and intelligent. Yeah, I'm tooting our own fucking horn right now. But you also like, I feel like you're my anchor in a lot of ways. Like you kind of like bring me back down to earth on
I can agree.
things. And yeah, I just feel like we just meshed well so fucking great.
Yeah,
like so great.
Yeah, it was really easy.
Yeah.
Really easy. And it's just been nothing but fun.
Yeah. You know that like you're one of my close friends if I can just make your life a living hell. And that's like kind of what I did for you in Canada. I was kind of testing your limits a little bit.
Oh, just Canada? Because I think it's been.
You think before then?
Oh, it definitely started in Canada with the eyelash curler, and then it hasn't stopped since then.
Oh wait, Sophia.
So like,
wait.
I was never used to like my friends. Like growing up, who I still am friends with to this day, we were never like practical jokesters with each other. Like we were never really like that. So I learned very quickly that Val and Dylan too, like they love a good practical joke. They love to make you look stupid and make you question your reality. And yeah, that started in Canada and hasn't stopped.
Okay, I completely forgot about the eyelash curler, but now that you brought it up, we have to talk about it because so a little context here. Sophia had, I don't even want to call it a purse. It was literally
I remember that bag.
This big. I think maybe at most you could fit like a credit card and a lip gloss into it.
My phone barely fit in it. It was so bad.
So I think we were either at a restaurant or like a bar somewhere in Canada, and we went to the bathroom and there was this eyelash curler just sitting on the counter of the bathroom. And Sophia's purse, she was letting me hold her purse. And I'm like, you know what? Perfect size. This will fit perfectly in her little fucking bag. Let me put it in here. And she's going to open her bag and be like, how the fuck did this get here? Did I bring this? Well, no, you don't even use an eyelash curler. No. Yeah. So you didn't notice it though until like hours later.
I think it was the next day. Because remember, we were about to go somewhere and I'm like looking at my bag and then I pull it out. I'm like, Val, is this yours? And she's like, no, obviously Dylan's not curling his eyelashes. I don't curl my eyelashes. So I'm just like, how did this happen? Like, did someone get into my purse? Like, I'm just thinking all these things. I was like, that's fucking weird. I did not find out that it was Val until years. I think it was years later she finally admitted that it was her. And that's just what I deal with.
Okay, here's my thing, guys. I love like just pushing the limits. I love making people feel uncomfortable, worried, scared,
That's
feared.
really great.
And I wanted Sophia to be like, who put this in my fucking bag? And I just
I did.
wanted to milk that as far as I could and as
Same.
long as I could. And to this day, it's one of it's one of my favorite stories because I just got away with it for so long and it felt really great.
But I'm also such a fucking idiot for thinking that it wasn't you. Like, I genuinely was like, did a ghost put an eyelash curler in my purse? Like, so stupid.
No, but
But now,
yeah, that speaks to your innocence at the time because you were
so
still kind of like
innocent.
getting to know me and you weren't really fully well versed in like my antics.
Right.
So I think you were just like in it, like you were the face of pure innocence of like,
So
did I put this here? Like, it couldn't be Val, couldn't be Dylan. Little did you know it was.
yeah, so innocent, so blissfully unaware of what I was getting myself into. And yeah, that's literally where it all started. And then we had a great time, had some rough
Mhm.
patches on that trip, but
Mhm.
that's where it all started. And then, yeah, obviously continued college together. I live in Connecticut, Val's in Boston, and we've just stayed in touch. I was at a point visiting her literally every single month, and all those stories can have their own episode too. Even like college, like we're kind of grazing over college because, like,
Yeah.
probably rightfully so, but
Mhm.
just yeah, pretty much my college experience was just waiting in line for the bathroom with you because you would drag me there every single night. But yeah.
I will also in college too. I think when we decided that we're gonna, because we lived together
Yes,
our
duh.
senior year of
Duh, duh, duh.
college. And I think what really made us decide that was, and this is kind of where the timeline and the details are lost on me, but
Uh-huh.
you stayed with me. Like this was towards the end of junior year of college. I remember you staying at me and Dylan, because Dylan and I lived together for like pretty much all throughout college.
Yeah.
You stayed at our house for like a full week or like a week and a half, but I can't remember if you had moved out of your college house at that point,
Yeah,
and
why
that's
was
why
I
you
there?
stayed with me.
Yeah, why was I there?
I feel like you did. I feel like you moved out of those houses on campus earlier.
It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just stayed. Oh, and you had the black mold?
Oh, yep. Yep. Guys,
No,
I
that
had
house was
so
fucking
disgusting.
disgusting. Their floors were black. Black with like
Mhm.
sticky. Oh, it was so
Okay, but that wasn't because of the mold. Like
no,
they
no, no.
weren't sticking and gross
Separate.
because of the mold.
Separate
Yeah,
issue.
separate, separate. How did I even come to discover that we had black mold in the house?
Because you guys were
I
getting
can't.
sick.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, I
And then
had
I
this
think you
weird.
eventually, yeah, had someone come and look.
Yep, yep. Because I had that fucking cough. Remember that cough that literally wouldn't go away? I have a video of Brad and I at his house, just like taking a video of us laughing. And you know, when you laugh too hard, like you start coughing.
Yeah,
I had like a full on coughing attack from the black mold.
yeah.
From the black mold. Yeah. RIP to that fucking house. It was a shit show. It was disgusting. A
Yeah,
lot of
that
memories there.
lots of
Hmm.
memories in the house. And then yeah, senior year we moved to a much nicer, cleaner, so much better place. Me, Val, and Dylan again. And
Hmm.
I loved that year so much. I loved that house, even though the living room was a fucking antique museum. Like, so we
Yeah.
hated the way our living room looked the whole year. The last month we're living there, we're like, let's rearrange it.
An antique museum, guys, I'm not kidding. They had like 17 lamps, they had 12 tables.
Yeah.
Like it was just so cluttered, so weird. And yeah, we're like, fuck it. Let's just rearrange. We have 2 months left in the year. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But it was so much better. It was way more inviting and just
Mhm.
we didn't have 10 lamps just in our faces at all fucking times.
But
no, but honestly,
best.
I look back at college in particular and just have nothing but fond memories. Like
100%.
the amount of laughs.
I couldn't tell you one professor's name, but I had a fucking great time. That's what's important.
Yep. How was it living with me and Dylan? Let's rope him into this too, so it's not all on
Well,
me.
again, like as similar as we are, we're very different. Like have always been like a serious rule follower my whole life. Like again, strict parent. Shout out you guys if you're listening. It's like I was so afraid to do anything wrong. Like I was definitely like pretending to drink alcohol even in like early college. So
Girl, you still are. Let's be real. You freaking camp on one loyal lemonade for like 7 hours in the night.
what just happened? What the fuck?
What?
The screen just disappeared.
I can see you.
I can't see anything. Pause. Hello, everyone. Brief interruption. We ran into some technical difficulties. You know, as we said before, this is live. It's also our first time ever doing a podcast, so things are bound to go wrong. It's also us you're dealing with, so really, like, no one should be surprised. So for the rest of the episode, it will be audio only. We lost our video, of course, but we encourage you to keep listening. Thank you so much. This will not be an issue again, and enjoy the rest of the episode. Yes. Okay. And we're back. Technical difficulties. Shout out to Julian, the best boyfriend ever, who is making all of this possible, because without him, we would not know what the actual F we were doing.
No.
So thank you, love you. But back to what I was saying. Yeah, so I really strict upbringing. I was very like anti everything. I was just scared of like getting caught or getting in trouble or whatever it is. So Val and Dylan were the total opposite. They were the ones throwing the parties, which we didn't really do in our senior house. Like we just had like friends over.
Nice.
And I think you guys got that out of your system, thank God, because I would not know what to do. But yeah, and so they were very different. Like they were very loud and rowdy and fucking crazy. And I was still crazy in my own way, but like a little less.
But I feel like that that brought that side out in you, because it's not like you didn't have that in you.
No, exactly what I was about to say. And like that definitely living with them brought me out of my shell, made me more social, and I just remember it being so fun. And like at night, we would just be chilling in the living room. Got you guys hooked on Game of Thrones. And like, I just remember like fun and like drunk moments, like coming home and just laughing and then waking up in the morning and then all of us like reconvening to discuss the nights prior. But I just remember it being fun. Like, obviously, with any situation, nothing's perfect, but it was just a good time. And, like, the house was so great. We were, like, 2 minutes from the beach. It was just it was fun. It was definitely my whole college experience. Like, thank God that I had it, because I would still be this, like, scared little timid, which I still am. But even more so, like, just this scared little child. It all shaped me to who I am today.
You definitely developed thicker skin and a higher patience tolerance. So like you can handle anything now.
That's for sure. Whatever. But I don't want to embarrass ourselves too much.
No, we have a reputation to maintain here.
Yeah, we do. We read books now. And
yeah, we're educated girls. Okay.
Oh my God. But I guess, yeah, like, yeah, it's just been a freaking ride. Like, we need to talk about Spain? No, guys, like, I am just not a good traveler when it has been over 12 hours over, I don't even know where to begin. I still struggle to talk about it because it was so traumatizing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the way there was fine. Me and our friend Brad, who will definitely come on the pod,
Mhm.
we traveled together, and that was honestly great. Like the journey there was great. That's all well and done. Make it to Spain, beautiful. We go to the rehearsal dinner with the
The welcome event.
welcome event.
Yeah.
Go to that. That was amazing. And then the wedding is the next day. Beautiful perfection. And then this is where all of our stories combine into one traumatizing event. And so obviously Joya's wedding was a spectacle, right? And we did not sleep at all. So
At all. At
at
all.
all. So we had wedding, reception, after party, zero sleep. So that's from 2 p.m. to 8 a.m. the next day.
But I also didn't sleep from the welcome
Love
event
that, right?
either.
Right.
So I was up for that whole night and then the whole wedding
Yeah.
and then the whole night of the wedding
Yep.
and then pick up where you were just going with the flight to Mallorca.
So we are at the after party watching the sun come up. It's 7
Yeah.
a.m. We have to get to the airport within like a couple hours because we're going to Mallorca. Brad is chugging champagne in the
I would have
hotel
loved to
room
see that.
at 8 a.m. I'm like, Brad, can we please just try to get like a half hour of sleep for the love of God? I'm so miserable. We eventually make it to back to the Barcelona airport. We're all struggling. It is struggle city. The alarm in the airport was malfunctioning. I don't know what was happening, but it was, oh, I want to figure out if we could insert video. Insert video here.
Insert video here.
Every 5 minutes, and it would last. It would last too long. Screaming children.
Oh.
Everywhere.
Oh.
We're all just so miserable, and our flight kept getting delayed. It was
Oh, yep.
hot. It was hot. It was so hot. And we're miserable. So we get on the plane to Mallorca. It's a half-hour flight. Easy peasy, right? We land. Time to find the car service. It takes us, and this is not an exaggeration, 3 hours to eventually find the bus that would take us to the car service. Because, and again, obviously we're in Spain, nothing's in English, and nobody wants to help us. Rightfully
Fucking no
so.
one.
We're Americans. I get it. Like, you don't need to help us, but no one was helping us, sending us all over this airport, drip, sweating. We're so
So hot.
dehydrated. I thought I was gonna faint. Like anyone looking at our group must have, they just must have died laughing at how ridiculous and American we look. I have my mini fan. I'm dripped. I'm like so miserable, about to faint. 3 hours in the blistering heat to find this car service.
Yeah.
And then it was smooth sailing from there. But holy crap, was that horrible. And then the journey home was also horrible. So
Yeah,
even
you guys had
more
a rough
Brad.
go at that too.
Even Brad had it 20 times worse. I cannot actually believe that he survived that night.
I know.
But yeah, because we left Spain a little earlier than Val and the rest of our crew. It was just me and Brad that left early. And yeah, we had to, after our flight, we had to go back to Scott's apartment. Val's boyfriend Scott, for all of you who don't know, Scottish cheese. He's gonna hate that. Sorry, Scotty. But we had to stay in his apartment because it was in Boston. We flew out of Boston because it was cheaper or whatever. Brad has to go back to upstate New York, and I'm in Connecticut.
New York.
Yeah. So we get to Scott's apartment again. traveling all day, so miserable, just want to sleep. It is 92 degrees inside the apartment. So we're like, okay, we'll just turn on the AC, like whatever, fuck it. AC broken. Broken AC. So we're just, I won't even begin, but we somehow slept and we both woke up at like 5 in the morning and went out onto Scott's like patio and just laid there because it was the coolest breeze we had felt in like 2 days, and just laid there so miserable. Eventually made it back home, but I won't tell Brad's story for him, but he had a very rough go at it. And the moral, I don't know where we were getting at with that story, but Spain is beautiful. I would literally move there, but that travel is not for the weak. It's not at all. So
No, it's tough. It's like the flight. I love to travel, but I hate the flying part. Like I
yeah,
just wish I could get there.
the actual traveling part, it
Yeah,
sucks. It
it
really
does.
does suck. It's a lot. And especially because we had so much, we were so busy the whole time. And we
Mhm.
were only there for a week, and that flies. But
Mhm.
I think just, yeah, no, but that was an unbelievable trip.
It
But
was.
I don't think I can go back to Europe for a long time. I gotta regain my regain some sanity.
Well, I just think like it's tougher for you and Brad because you guys
We'd never done it.
don't love the heat. You don't like the heat. There's no AC. You have to walk everywhere. You have to like it sucks because even if you do something the night before, like you want to like maximize all the days. So you have to get up early and kind of just like suck it up. So
Well, so okay, so after we land in Mallorca, we are all so dead. Somehow we're still alive. I think we went like swimming or whatever. And then Val's like, "Okay, tomorrow morning we're getting up at 6:30 to go whatever." And me and Brad are like, "Absolutely not happening." So you guys went, and granted, you guys went to beautiful places.
it
But
was
then what
stunning.
happened to you, Getty?
Oh, I was on my deathbed with tonsillitis. I felt it in the airport. Guys, if little background about me, I have a chronic history of tonsillitis. Been to the hospital numerous times because my tonsils touch, can't breathe, can't swallow.
She
You
should
would think,
get them
"Oh, just get
removed.
them out." No, I won't. I won't do it. I'm not doing it. So yeah, I got tonsillitis because I was up for a full 48 hours, drinking, partying, no sleep, screaming, lost my voice. I felt the tonsillitis coming on, and I think what really like sent it home was the incessant beeping in the airport, the children screaming, sweating my fucking ass off, and then just that whole situation trying to get the car, which mind you, yes, I was equally as frustrated and annoyed, but I'm like I said, when something is happening that like I should be serious about it, I laugh. I was like trying so hard not to laugh. I was looking at like Sophia, she was like ready to kill someone. I was looking at Amelia. She was like, "Get the fuck away from me, Val," because I just like wanted to laugh about it because it was kind of funny. But yeah, all of those events led to me getting a horrible case of tonsillitis.
Yeah.
But I had to just like push myself to go see this beach because it was on like my bucket list of beaches to see.
Mhm.
And it was beautiful, worth it. But when I came home, so how bad? Like I was in so much pain. I was crying. I'm a baby when I'm sick, so I was crying. I was pissed off because like who doesn't want to be in Europe with all of their best friends? I was like, of course I get deathly ill
I
when all of my
know.
best friends are in Europe. Like,
And a
but
great thing
luckily
about Europe is
the healthcare.
the healthcare. The
Yep,
doctor, how she was literally, how long did it take him to come? Fucking
an
half an
hour.
hour.
Yeah,
Like,
he came over right
call
away.
doctor came right to the house.
Yeah,
Like, which is great. So at least you were able to like get what you needed, like meds wise. But
I
yeah,
know.
it was rough.
Yeah.
No, that was a great trip. Again, just lots of bonding, lots
Mhm.
of trials and tribulations.
You really, I think traveling tests relationships. How
Yeah.
close are you? How do you guys navigate some inevitable
Yep.
conflicts?
But just a reminder, this podcast is about books.
It
So
is. It is. It is. It
so
is. Let's switch
now
gears.
and again, I'm sure stories will come up over time on this pod,
Yeah.
There's
Mhm.
so many stories, but how we got here.
Mhm.
How we got here. So I, growing up, read all the time. Like, I was a big Harry
Mhm.
Potter, Twilight, Hunger Games, all the classics from back in the day. Were you always like that? Was there an age where you really started? Was it recently?
Yeah, I think same, just younger. I loved to read, especially those like classic books. I loved when I was younger a book that I could escape
Mhm.
into, and I think that is still like very much true now.
Yep.
Um but there was like a point I would read a lot when I was younger, but then as you kind of like go into, your adolescence, you're like, fuck, reading is so lame. I'm not going to do
Yeah.
it. And then I kind of just like stopped. Um and I think it was this, I'm trying to think of like when I really got back into reading. I think it was the summer of like 2018,
Mhm.
which was just like kind of a tough time for me mentally because
Mhm.
I lost my grandma at that point. And I just like missed that feeling of like escapism of like I need my mind to go somewhere
Yep.
other than where it is right now.
Yep.
And that's when I discovered Shantaram. And that's actually going to be our first book episode
Yep.
because I told Soph to read that book and she'll share with you like the impact that it had on her.
Yep.
I will recommend this book to everybody until I'm blue in the face because it is just a life-changing book.
Yep.
And I read that book and it just opened up a whole like new world for me again of like,
Yep.
oh my God. I felt like I was like connecting back to like a part of myself when I was younger, but then it also just did so much for me like in that moment of my life.
Right.
And from there it just took off.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know?
And that's exactly like I was going through a major reading dry spell, like hadn't read a book in years. If
Mhm.
you guys can hear my loud ass neighbor's car, just try to ignore it. But yeah, I was going through a reading dry spell and Val recommended this book again. It's Shantaram. It's by Gregory David Roberts. That's going to be it's a duology. So there's Shantaram and then there's Mountain
Mhm.
Shadow. And I don't know, we're still trying to figure out if we're going to do one book in the episode or both books in one
Mhm.
episode. But regardless, that's going to be the first book we cover. And yeah, it's a true story. We'll get into the synopsis next episode, but it is just the most beautiful story of loss,
Mhm.
adventure, love,
Redemption.
redemption. Redemption. Julian's
Mhm.
fucking clock says the time out loud whenever the actual
Is that what that was?
is.
Oh my
Anyway,
God.
like
Anyway,
just, it really is like a life changing book. Like it is
it
just so
is.
beautifully written.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be what we first cover. And that really brought me out of the dry spell. I've
Mhm.
been going reading ever since. And it's
Mhm.
just been, yeah, it really is just such an awesome escape, especially in this day and age when it's so hard not to just constantly be scrolling and
Yeah.
scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And I was getting to the point where I was just like doom scrolling on TikTok all day long. And as great as that is, like, no, I needed a different escape route. So once Shantaram came, it just really like the floodgates opened from there. And it's just been
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm curious, like hopping on that point, I'm curious, like, what is your process when you are reading? Like, does it do for you mentally? Because that point of scrolling, I feel like we're just so quick to pick up our phone because it is a distraction to
Mhm.
some degree. Like, we are just flooded with information, but I feel like it's really only engaging your visual and like auditory senses. Like it's
Yeah,
not really making like you use your imagination or like
right.
creativity,
Exactly.
and so I feel like when you pick up your phone, like yeah, it's a distraction, but it's kind of like also perpetuating a feeling of like anxiety, at least for me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
speaking just from like my own experience, but
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like I would just distract myself, and then in the back of my mind I'd be like, I still don't like, I still feel weird. I'd put the phone
Yeah.
down. I'm just like, okay, now I feel worse. Like what's
Right.
going on? We're
Right.
just not meant to be exposed to that much information. And so reading for me, and I feel like it's interesting because this is where people have like a difference in opinion, which is why I'm curious to hear from you. But it like I fully am so present when I'm reading. I
Yep.
think like people like think, oh, reading, that's so daunting because you're kind of like alone with yourself and your thoughts. Like you're in the quiet. You don't have a distraction other than just the book in front of you. But like it does wonders for me. Just like time goes by so fast when
Yep.
I'm reading.
Yep.
So like, what's kind of that process for you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely similar. I think when you're scrolling on social media, you are seeing different things, different
Hmm.
stories, different photos, different videos, literally within the matter of seconds. Whereas
Yeah.
reading, it is one story that you're focusing on, one sequence of events that's happening, and it really just you're just engrossed in that story. And you're also with social media, you feel different emotions in the span
Yeah.
of a second. Like on TikTok, I will be crying, laughing, and then crying, sobbing 2 seconds later. And with
Yes.
a
Yep.
book, it's just so much easier and more fluid going through that transition of emotions because, again, you're following one story or one character or multiple characters, but it's all the same story. Whereas social media is
Mhm.
just shoving different stories essentially at you at once. And yeah, it just completely, you're just completely delving into this other world or whatever it is, this other, whatever genre you're reading, but it just takes you out of reality
Mhm.
and just makes you focus on this one amazing thing for a little bit
Mhm.
rather than all of the information from the whole entire earth at once. So,
Yeah.
especially
Mhm.
now with what I'm reading, which we'll get into.
Drop the name. Drop the name. Let the people know.
Throne of Glass. No, guys, we will get to it eventually, but
We will. We will.
the ACOTAR, Court of Thorns and Roses, Throne of Glass series, my PSA to all of you is read them immediately. So when you get to our pod episode about them, you're caught
Mhm.
up because it's going to be so hard not to spoil things in those books. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah. So yeah, it just once you start, it's so you can't stop. Especially when you found a genre that really speaks to you. It's just like it's game over because there's just millions of books to choose from, if not
Mhm.
billions at this point. So
Maybe what's your go-to genre? Because that could also be good in terms of like book recommendations, like what you want to read, what you like to read.
yeah, I think I mean right now I'm in the fantasy realm,
Yeah.
and I feel like especially after Throne of Glass, I mean I'm gonna do Crescent City and Fourth Wing and all that, which I'm sure. I mean I would assume everyone has heard of these books by now if you
Mhm.
own a computer or a phone because they're everywhere. But I'm in fantasy right now, and I think it would be hard for me to switch genres. But it does like it changes all the time. Like before I got into fantasy, I was super into thriller and horror. I love
Mm.
all things horror. Like I love horror movies. I love a good scary book. So I was really into that for a little bit. Love fiction. I'm not a big like nonfiction person. It depends.
Mm.
But right now, fantasy 100%.
Mhm.
What about you?
I don't know. I'm like a
Because you
mood
read like a
reader.
book a day. So I don't know how
I'm
you can keep up with what books you like and prefer.
Okay, it's because of the Kindle, which I will say I retract my statement of saying like I'll never get a fucking Kindle, like I'll never be that person. I swear, I don't know. It's just so easy to like read on that thing, and it's I don't know, it's amazing. But I feel like also the Kindle has given me access to more. I don't know, to things that I wouldn't usually read because of just how you like
Yeah,
search for books on that.
yeah.
But So yeah, I am a mood reader. So like I can maybe set the intention of, oh, I'm gonna read this book, but then I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm in the mood to read that. So I
Right.
think like my go-to, I love fantasy, but I do like love literary or contemporary fiction too. I like nonfiction where it has like maybe a little bit like more of like an embellishment. So like
Mhm.
Shantaram is considered like nonfiction, but it has
Some
some like
fictional.
embellished things,
Yeah.
yeah, for the storyline.
Yeah.
So I'm like a big, I like getting meaning out of books. I
Yeah.
don't like reading this just these like stupid books that really don't like resonate with
Mhm.
anything. But so yeah, I think like that's probably my sweet spot is like nonfiction with a little bit like of,
Right.
yeah,
So a
little
little
like
spoiler,
details.
if your favorite book audience is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, just don't watch the pod.
Don't fucking
That
watch.
is one of the worst books I have ever, I won't say that. That's probably dramatic, but that was the most overhyped book of probably the century, and it
Hmm.
was horrible. So if you
Hmm.
actually want to read good books, stay on the pod. But if
Yeah.
you want to continue reading not good books, then go fucking read some Colleen Hoover. Because
Yeah.
no shame, not shaming anyone who I'm sure some people connected it, loved it, but I think I don't know, when you've experienced a book like Shantaram, there's it gets you get to a peak and you are just
Hmm.
you want every book to hit that peak because it's like the emotion that you feel, the connection you have to the people. You can't help but compare every book afterwards to,
Oh yeah.
and now
Oh yeah.
I'm, in the throne of glass, like that's going to be a whole other peak that I
Hmm.
that I reach. Yeah, and then we obviously started bonding, especially over books like Shantaram, which we'll talk about first, and then the fantasy series, and just over with reading overall. And then we were FaceTiming one night talking
Hmm.
about ACOTAR, and Val said the phrase booked and busy. And we both were just like, that would be such a sick podcast name. And here we are.
Here we are.
Like, I just thought it would be so fun because again, like we're literally just taking our FaceTimes and delivering
Putting
them
it public.
for other eyes to see.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm always up for a new book recommendation, book
Hmm.
reviews. So like why not do it ourselves?
Exactly.
So that's how we ended up here.
Hmm. And I think like our values, if you want to call it that, with this podcast is it's just going to be like a representation of ourselves. So it's going to be like tangential in the sense that we're talking about books and then we're talking about like an experience that we had, or
Right.
we're talking about something
Right.
else, or even like the concept of just like social media, like these things that I don't know are just this is literally what our FaceTimes are like
Yeah.
we're just talking about one thing, then we're talking about another, then another. So it's just going to be exactly that. But I think the thing, like the foundation of all of this is books, because books like encapsulate so many emotions. Like
Mhm.
there's grief, there's loss, there's like love, there's connection, there's heartbreak, and it's just I don't know. I love talking about how a book mentally impacted me and like what I took away from it. And I think people also get that from film, but I think for me, where I mean, Sophia's a huge movie buff, so she knows a lot more about that than I do.
Movie podcast coming soon.
Yeah,
Totally
yeah.
kidding. Totally kidding.
um, but I like books because you really are just in the mind of that said
Right.
person, whether
Right.
that's done in first person or third person.
Yep.
You are just really experiencing everything that they're feeling, that they're going through, that they're thinking. Whereas in movies, I think that's conveyed more in like
It's all visual.
obviously if it's good acting, yeah, like
Yeah.
it has to be good acting for you to like see that emotion, but you're not really kind of in the know of like what's going on beneath the surface, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Right.
So that's why I love books so much,
Yeah.
because I love that element, you know?
Yeah. Especially, I mean, obviously, when it's a good director, it's obviously a more amazing. But when someone is able to write just so,
Mhm. Mhm.
just so beautifully,
Mhm.
so cleverly, and just, it really is just, it's an experience. because I do like, I love movies, and so many movies have impacted me, but it's just it's a different way of, it's a lot of inner monologues. And with movies, a lot of those inner feelings are up for interpretation from the audience. So with the book, it's all laid out there. And yeah, like, especially with our first book, Shantram, like, a lot of that was monologues, and it's so beautiful.
Well, what I think is great about movies is I think it can deliver like more of like a poignancy to like what you're so like Shantaram is they adapted it into a TV show, which spoiler, it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks.
Don't
They
watch
did it.
it. Fuck you,
Don't
Apple
watch it.
TV. Fuck you,
Yeah.
Apple TV. But not Charlie Hunnam.
Horrible.
Charlie Hunnam can do no
Yeah.
wrong. Apple TV and whoever made that monstrosity.
They changed so much about the book.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the show when we talk about the
100%.
book, but what I do appreciate about film is that if like you let's say that you have like a book that was turned into like a moody a moody adaptation, a movie adaptation. I love how they incorporate like the music to like
Mm,
emphasize something that may be a little bit more sad or
mhm,
you know like the music that's put with like the visual of film.
mm,
I love that
yeah.
because in the book like you're just reading something that is fucking gut-wrenching or like holy shit what's going to happen,
Right.
and the music just intensifies it. I mean, think of Game of Thrones, like holy shit, the music in itself just plummets me to like a parallel universe of like
Well,
I'm having no palpitations.
I think we're the same in this, but I'm literally playing a movie in my head as I'm reading. Like, I
How
am
can you not?
visualizing. Well, some people don't. I have heard some people, they're like, oh, I don't picture anything. I'm like, how? How are you not picturing it all out while it's happening? The format is really just going to be, we're going to have a book of the pod. We're going to talk about it, probably give like a very basic synopsis if we can, how it made us feel, the themes, all of that stuff, and then kind of whatever else we get into. And then at the end, I mean, we do encourage everyone to read the books that we
Yeah.
talk about just because, and again, not a guarantee you'll even like them, but they really are books that we both bonded on, like hardcore. But we're also going to have books that both of us haven't read yet. And in between
Totally.
pods, we're going to read them and then talk about them in the episode after. But we definitely want, like, once it's posted, if people want to recommend books for us to read, we're going to have guests. Like, it's going to be a whole thing. And if it takes a while to release an episode, don't want to hear it because it's hard to do when you're in different states. All right.
I know.
So, but that's really going to be it. And I'm fucking excited. I think it's going to be
We're also thinking of like doing things again to kind of like echo the point before of wanting it to just be a representation of us and who we are. We want to do like a segment like book breaks where that's kind of like a great opportunity to have guests come in that I don't know, people that have different interests where we can start more of a conversation on those things too, because we have like so many interesting friends. Like I love picking apart my friends' brains and just seeing what they think about stuff. And so many people come to mind of like who I would want to have on here. But I think it's going to be fun. And like, again, it's a hobby. Like this is our hobby. This is something that we're passionate about. And like, what better way to spend your free time than doing it with your bestie?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's going to be awesome. But that's where we're at, guys. Like, if you made it this far, thanks. Like, we love you if you made it this far. And it's just going to be a ride. It's going to be a ride.
Yeah.
It's going to be so fun.
Speaking of a ride, I love when so Sophia is reading Throne of Glass right now, and so she'll like text me periodic updates of like, holy shit, this is happening. And as you guys know, if like your friend is reading a book that you may have recommended and like you can't give away shit. So my go-to is sending the cowboy emoji because she's in for a fucking ride.
No, like Val's like, text me every update. I'm like, okay, I do. All I get is a fucking emoji in response. I'm like, okay, I'm not sending you anymore because I don't get, like, I need to. No, guys, those episodes are gonna be crazy. Those episodes are gonna be crazy. Crazy. So stay tuned for those. Like, those might have to come directly after Shantram. I think they're gonna.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
So read them because you'll definitely have some time to get through at least some of them for the next episode. But yeah.
I think like I am like such a big critic though. Like it takes a lot for me to kind of end a book and say that was like a 5-star, like perfect
Well, yeah.
thing. I have to like feel super connected to it, either with like the story, the writing, or just kind of like, I don't know, the idea of what they're trying to do with it. Like I read this fantasy novel, Sanctuary of the Shadow, which I was like so excited for. And I come to read it and I'm like, what? Like, this is just, that's like what I think I hate when I can see the idea, like there's the potential and it's just like, you fumbled. Like, you know, you could have done this so much better. So I like books that I finish it and I'm like, holy shit. Or during it. This is why I can't read on like the tea or anything if it's a good book because I'm like squirming, I'm like shaking. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
So that's like a telltale sign. If I'm enjoying a book, I will be squirming, I will be squealing,
Screaming.
I'll be like punching, hitting. Scott, you're a real one for letting me read in bed with you because I'm like,
no. Yo, last night I was finishing part 1 of Queen of Shadows and I'm hitting the pillow next to Julie and I'm just like, oh my god! And obviously they're like, think we're psycho, but they just
I know.
they don't get it.
They
Once
don't
you
get it.
get it,
And you'll never go back once you do.
they'll never go back.
No.
But yeah, guys, this is going to be great. Next episode, stay tuned. We're not going to give you a time of when it's going to happen, but it will be
No.
soon.
No. No.
Will be soon. But yeah, until then, we're booked and busy. Anything to add, gal?
No, other than this is gonna be the least amount of pressure when it comes to when we film, how we film. Like, we're not gonna be like one of those people, oh, catch us every week. Like, no, guys,
It's
life
impossible.
happens. Yeah, it's fucking impossible.
It's
And
impossible.
like,
If we lived in the same state, lived close, it'd be a little easier, but we're going to do our best. And the farther apart the episodes are, again, they're not going to be that far, like that far. But it gives people time to read what we recommend because that's the goal, is just to introduce people to new books, get new books introduced to us. That's the point. And just bond over them. And that's what it's going to be. And it's going to be great.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we're figuring out where we're going to put it.
Oh, right? You guys will see us on Instagram, YouTube link in bio.
No, we can't be one of those.
YouTube link in bio, hashtag. And next episode, there may or may not be a jingle. So.
Oh, yeah. Sophia's going to make a little jingle jam for us.
Maybe.
Harmonize, girly. Harmonize it.
Well, I honestly
give them a sneak peek.
Well, I didn't really want anyone to know that it was me, so
we just brought in a random fucking stranger to sing our intro.
Maybe
give them a little preview.
I did in the beginning.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
All right, we'll do it again.
No,
why not? Do it.
But yeah, maybe a jingle next time. maybe.
No, Sophia, she wants to just sing musicals and Disney Pixar movies.
What's wrong with that?
A lot when you're trying to take a nap.
What are you even talking about?
When we lived together, I would be taking naps and I would just hear her singing to these musicals downstairs of like, what it was at Mulan.
I mean, probably, but also you're the psycho audience. We're cutting back in here. This psychopathic freak hasn't seen Mulan. Like,
Sorry.
are you kidding me? One of the best
Sorry.
Disney soundtracks of all time. We haven't, so let's not. Also, we can't talk too much about movies because Val's like movie experience has just been so like
It,
embarrassing.
horrible. I don't have a movie experience because I'm so not in the know with Sophia literally sent me a list of Disney movies that I have to watch.
Yeah.
Like
Have you
what was even
started?
on there? No. So it was like Mulan, Aladdin.
Inside. She hasn't seen Aladdin. Like, do you guys understand this? She hasn't seen Aladdin?
But I feel like I have maybe when I was younger. I just don't
Okay.
remember it. 'Cause obviously I know the
No.
story, but I just don't remember it.
Rewatching them as an adult, oh, it's such a different experience. No, Inside Out is the one you have to watch first.
Yeah.
Inside Out is so good. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. I'll get there.
Yeah. But anywho,
Anywho,
guys, again, if you made it this far, thank you so much. We really
thank
appreciate
you
it.
so freaking much.
And just stay tuned for the next one. And in the meantime, we'll be booked and busy, baby. We'll be booked and busy.
It's probably gonna sound
Booked and
horrible.
busy.
Booked and
Bye.
busy. Bye.